All right, you've heard me mention it before. Now we're going to really dig deeper into it. The theme. What is it that you want your reader to know? So, magazine ideas seem pretty simple. I want to write about music. I want to write about dogs. I want to write about a new restaurant. I want to write about an interesting person that I met. Those are not magazine articles. What they're lacking is a really direct focus, kind of that narrowing down that's going to show the reader why it's significant to them. It's what makes articles original for a particular publication. It's what makes the magazine want to marry itself to this topic. So what we call this paragraph the theme. In news writing, it's known as the nut graph, and the goal of it is to show the reader this is what the story is about. So in this case, the nut graph, the theme, has the who, what, why, when, where, and how that in a news writing story, in an inverted pyramid story, we would have in the summary lead. But that summary lead now moves down so that it's underneath our anecdotal lead, whatever form that anecdotal lead is going to take. This nut graph will come after it to show us the main facts. It also shows us the news value. So it shows us the timeliness or the proximity or the human interest, whatever it is that's going to make this story compelling to readers now is what's reflected also in the theme. It's really where the story gets its structure and its shape. The key elements that you are going to have in the body of this story should be in evidence in the theme. We should get a very strong idea as to where the story is going to go, and we should stick to that throughout the entire story. So, what does it look like? It's pretty much one paragraph. Occasionally it'll be two. Certainly in longer stories it can be longer, but I want you to try to really focus on making it one paragraph. It comes after the lead. Now recognize that the lead can be several paragraphs long, so it may not come until the fourth, fifth, or sixth paragraph. Depending on the length of your story, you can get away with going a bit longer with your lead, but it does follow right after the lead, often with a transition. There may be a quote or something that'll take us out of the lead, and then it will take us to this theme paragraph. It contains the who, what, why, when, where, and how. So you have to make sure that the facts are in there that tell us what are the key components of this story. And then we're going to need to transition out of it into the body, often with a quote. All right, so here's an example of a theme. It comes from a magazine that is called Southeast Ohio, and it's an article called A Sense of Belonging. Center fosters caring environment. So this lead in the exercise room at Tomorrow's Corner, many do not exercise, while a colorful circle of clients, one wearing a cowboy hat, volleys a mesh net full of balls. Lily sits at the back of the room away from the action. She slouches in her wheelchair as her caretaker, Donna Dieter, feeds her a pureed meal. Lily is blind and mute, but her wide grin says everything that she cannot. This kind of stimulation is important. Just hearing others have fun, as with Lily, can put people in a good mood. That's the philosophy and underlying Tomorrow's Corner. Here's the theme: a center in Belmont County for adults with disabilities that provides day support, whether that be in the form of sensory stimulation, art workshops, or even assisted employment in the community. So see, we have this lead, and it takes us to the theme, which is the story of Tomorrow's Corner and what exactly it does for people with disabilities in this area. Here's another theme example. This comes from 614 magazine. It's an article that I wrote about a principal at a new high school. If not for the dark suit and walkie-talkie on his belt, it would be easy to mistake Amir Kim El-Malawani for one of 180 freshmen chattering and bustling about him in the halls of Columbus's newest high school. With his stubbly mustache and goatee and verbal punctuations like "right on," many would be surprised to learn that he's 27. They'd be even more shocked to realize that he's in charge of one of Columbus City Schools' most revolutionary new concepts. That's the lead, and now here's the theme. Kim El-Malawani is principal of the Columbus International High School, which opened August 25th in the Fort Hays campus. Promised by Superintendent Gene Harris as part of the 2008 school levy campaign, the high school was formulated in theory by parents and teachers to offer high school curriculum with a global focus and continue the French and Spanish immersion programs that have been underway in a pair of K-8 Columbus schools since the late 1980s. So the story begins with this lead, this narration, and then it takes us into the theme. What is this story going to be about? Remember that the theme is self-containing. If it is in the theme, it has to be in the body. And conversely, if it's not in the theme, it shouldn't be in the body. So the body doesn't have to match the theme If it doesn't, you have two choices. You have to change the body or change the theme. So remember that if you find that I do what's called the finger test, and I actually just randomly plunk my finger on a paragraph in the story. And if that paragraph relates to the theme and I can clearly see the theme in that paragraph, then I know I'm on the right track. If it doesn't match it and I do it once and it doesn't match it, but all the other paragraphs do, I know I need to change that paragraph. If I do it a bunch of times and it doesn't match the theme, but I know that all the paragraphs I've hit on in the body go together, then I'm going to change the theme paragraph. But they have to connect to one another. So to pitch your story, you need the theme, which means you have to start doing some research before you even start writing a word. You have to kind of figure out what is the angle that you're going to take with this story. Is this a realistic angle? Do your sources support this angle? Does it fit the magazine? Is it something that's unique? Do you have sources for it? Do you have enough of a theme to last the entire article? All of these pieces need to come into play before you can really start pursuing the article in a meaningful way for a particular magazine.